Hello, friends. This is Keshvaz here tonight. Let's see. Testing, testing. Yes. We got microphone on. I see. Okay. Let's send feedback. We have one person viewing. That looks great. I guess I'll know soon if somebody sends a live chat, if there's a chat box. I think we're ready to start. So, thank you guys for coming tonight. This is an unexpected live that was not scheduled, but I've decided to go live tonight due to me wanting to have another discussion. This is part 2 discussion about my discussion and thoughts of Disneyland, California. And of course, its neighbor, Disney's California Adventure. So, what I want to discuss about in this video about the parks, about those parks today, or tonight, I should say, is I remember on the first part of my discussion about this, I kind of gave you guys a whole layout of pretty much where everything is and all about and what the park is like. But I want to discuss today of why I believe that Governor Newsom, I know, is of why he's possibly postponing its reopened date for next July again. He wants to plan another full year of closure. And of course, I find that that's probably a mistake. And by mistake, I mean maybe he should listen to reason of what the 8 to 9 mayors of Southern California have been stepping forward and writing letters to Newsom saying why they are in the urge of need to reopen and how they have passed these tests and passed these possibilities to reopen safely without going into the yellow tier, because they're now in like red or purple still down there. I know it's pretty bad. But of course, we as the people have to probably take some benefit of the doubt. There are some people out there who don't like to cooperate with social distancing. People are now going back into the entertainment places and starting to crowd again, have social gatherings, and it's just causing their tier not to lower down. It's like they want to keep it spiked up. So I think the big part of it is uncooperation of the health policies. But we're not here to talk about COVID or the policies. We're just talking about, of course, the parks. But of course, this is partially talking about why the park is remaining closed and how it possibly may remain closed for another year of 2021. It's because of mostly uncooperation and how Disneyland's location in Southern California's areas are still far from that goal of reaching the yellow tier, which is merely impossible for a little while. So enough of the health and the COVID stuff. Now on to about the parks. So what I want to talk now is some of my opinions about the certain things of the park. Some popular things, some maybe long forgotten things, some things that you probably didn't know were in there, which you probably might. So anyways, what I want to first discuss is as you're walking through downtown Disney, just picture that. You're walking through downtown Disney and then you reach I think it's called the Esplanade, or it's pretty much The Center Plaza. The Center Plaza is like right where you go through another security checkpoint that leads right to the center of the park property, where you can choose left side going into the Disneyland Resort Park, or leaning toward the right going into Disney's California Adventure Park. Of course, there's always an option like which one, which one, which one. Like Yzma says in Emperor's New Groove. I'm also doing some Disney references here if you can kind of get what some of the quotes that I'm saying are from. So, walking through the plaza, and then you're selecting, oh, which one, which one? Shall we go into like Disneyland first? Shall we go into Disney's California Adventure Park first? Where should we go first? It's like always the big question. Unless you've already planned it out all in advance and you are spending like probably several certain days or 1 or 2 weeks probably down there. And then you guys have it planned out. Like one day we'll visit this park, one day we'll do that. Or in this day we'll do a combo, depending on what it is. I mean, having it pre-planned like that is a very great idea. And I will tell you, if you do it that way, you guys will have like no problem planning what the day is going to go like. Because if people do that unprepared, they might have people in their group. Let's say you're going there as a family group, right? And then you want to say, like, say you an individual in the group want to say, oh, I want to go to Disneyland. Let's say that you're already there in the park plaza and you all have to make a decision. One of them says, I want to go into Disneyland. And the other's like, I want to go into California Adventure. And some others might be like, I want to go to both. Well, of course, you can't go into both at the same time. That's impossible. But what I think is a great idea is, of course, you can do it the old democratic way. You can vote as a whole family. One person saying, raise your hands if you want to go into Disneyland today. Or now raise your hand if you want to go into California Adventure today. And then, of course, you would let the majority win. But, of course, you can all do that in advance before you even go. Like what me and my family have always done, every time that we go down there during the holidays for our one week holiday trip, usually the first week of December, what we always do is we plan like even a month before that. We plan a month before we go down there, let's say around the beginning of November. We already have our clipboard that we sometimes bring with us that kind of has all of our plans, ticket information, any and extra information that we need, all written down on pads on a clipboard, which in my opinion is a good idea. Bring that in a pen, or if you're tech-like, keep it saved up in your email archives on your email app, whatever you use on your phone, tablet, etc. What I would like to put down is that we kind of sketched out on our clipboard. We sketched out kind of like a calendar, SMTW. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then depending on how many weeks you're there. So I do like let's say I only have 1 week, and let's say I'm going Sunday night is when I'm starting to drive down there. That's what we always did. Sunday night is the night that we drive down, starting at like around 8 or 9 p.m. when we leave the house. And then overnight, we're driving down Highway 5, going all the way south through the California desert and the valley, all to Los Angeles. Which, of course, that route is pretty good, and we do it overnight because it's just no traffic, and you're just constantly going and going and going. It's the fastest route. It's like a 75 mile an hour zone because you just keep going straight and up and down hill valleys and all that. And of course, by the time, and assuming that you make a one stop around halfway, we usually stop halfway into there around Bakersfield to get gas and for a little half-hour rest stop. Using the bathroom, getting a snack, a drink, etc., filling the car up with gas, that kind of stuff. And then once you're all ready to move on, you continue, and then you don't have that much left, just probably an hour, hour and a half left of driving to go, pretty much. So most of your driving from, like, let's say my San Francisco Bay Area all the way to Bakersfield is then therefore got to be at least 3 or 4 hours of driving. So we ended up there at our Disney hotel at about like 4:30 in the morning, which is pretty nice because if you can bribe the people at the desk with, like, let's say uh give them something like a sweet of candy to eat, a nice drink, give them something nice, really appreciate their hard work, they might let you into your hotel room early to get settled in early in the morning, put your stuff away, and then go and have breakfast or have some time to eat wherever you're going, downtown Disney to eat, or if you brought food with you, or if you're on the concierge level spending extra in their concierge lounge, whatever it is. Because as you're driving through Sunday night, overnight, you go into the next day of Monday, right? That usually ends up being our first day for the parks. California Adventure and Disney, of course. Disneyland. What we did on a whole calendar on our sketch pad is that we had planned a month before the trip happened. Shall we do Disneyland or DCA here on Monday, which is our first day and the early morning that we arrive? Or shall we do the other? And then, of course, the majority wins that one. And then it's like, okay, since we've done that on Monday, let's say you choose Disneyland on Monday, Disneyland Park. And then it's like you can do on Tuesday, oh, we were in Disneyland yesterday, let's go to California Adventure today. We'll kind of like switch it back and forth. Or sometimes on this day, oh, it's Wednesday, the middle of our trip in the middle of the week. So it's like, we want to experience it all as best as we could. So let's do a combo. Like half the day in Disneyland and the other half in DCA, or however which way you want to switch it up, or use this midpoint of the day like 12 or 1 p.m. to probably go back to the hotel and rest or get some food or some extra drinks. Or on one of the days, you can just spend the other half of the day at your hotel swimming pool. I mean, that kind of stuff, which is pretty nice. Their pools and spas are not that bad at the Grand Californian, at the Disneyland Hotel, or the old Paradise Pier, which is RIP Paradise Pier. You're no longer Paradise Pier anymore. It's now Pixar Pier. So that's another good idea. And let's say Thursday for us in our family is usually our last full day of doing a park or parks or whatever there. And then Friday is usually the morning when we pack and then we leave to go home. And then we're back home at about late afternoon, early evening, like 4 or 5 p.m. is when we arrive home. Of course, that's the saddest moment because, of course, nobody wants to leave Disneyland or Disney California Adventure or any Disney park when they're having so much fun and when they're so happy. Of course, if I had to say a record for me is that if I had the choice and the money, assuming that I can spend as much time as I want at Disneyland, I would live there. I would say if I had all the time in the world, I would say I would want to live there. Or some people would say, oh, just a few months, because that's a little more than enough to do everything and to have some good fun there. But not me. Sometimes even a couple months feels like only 2 days. If I had a choice, I would live there, but None left of the but are we also unlucky? We're not part of the Walt Disney family. But you can feel like part of a family if you've used to like belong to the Mickey Mouse Club, which is like what some movie stars, some celebrities used to belong to in their childhood. I know for a fact Justin Timberlake, he was part of the Mickey Mouse Club as a kid and a teenager. Um, so that's an example. And then when it was all over, we arrived home. It was a fun trip. And that's how we used to plan it out. We plan it out on a huge notepad sketch paper where we write out kind of like a calendar. We write underneath each day which park, any certain times to remind us about reservations that we made for anything during that day. Like write down 11 a.m. So it's like Monday, Disneyland Park. Let's say you're going there. We have reservation 11 a.m. for Blue Bayou. You write that there too. It's also a good little reminder pad that you can like keep with you or make it stay in your room, and then you can see what you're doing, etc. But everything's going online now. And I remember when I was a kid, fast passes and tickets used to be hard cards. Now it's going digital, and you're only limited to them for certain like 3 or 4 of them throughout a day in one park. And I'm like, that's a little con about it, because I remember back when I was very little, you used to get many fast passes all that you want, as long as the time of hours for them don't overlap, and as long as you can use other people's tickets in your group. So the fast pass system, in my opinion, was better old school. And you used to get them at the fast pass machines when you slip your park ticket in and it comes out. Some of those still exist in Disneyland California and DC and Disney's California Adventure, but I think I know for a fact that Walt Disney World in Florida, the 4 parks, Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom, and Epcot, Future World, and the World Showcase, that part down there in Florida, it doesn't have those old fast pass machines. It's all digital. The last time I went there, which was 2 years ago, December of 2018, everything was all done online on the Walt Disney World app on your phone. So we were able to create our accounts, got our magic bands linked up, which are kind of like watches. It was all scanned. It was like very cool and revolutionary to park tickets and everything. Everything that you had of your trip, tickets, reservations, fast passes, anything that you have that would have been like on a card or on your lanyard or on a ticket of anything, all linked in like that looking watch. I mean, that was very convenient too, and they're water resistant, so they wouldn't get wrecked in the rain, because Florida's known for its rain. It's the rainforest. So, so they're two different world of parks in the same country, but they're very similar in almost every way. So, back to Disneyland and Disney's California Adventure in California, which is where I am. Well, I'm not there, but I'm a California resident up in the San Francisco Bay Area. As you know, I am on a complete different side of the state. I've even heard that some people were actually either flying or they even drove almost cross country from even Washington, or went through, or from Oregon, and they went through 1 or 2 almost full states just to travel down here. And I feel for them, because they had like a longer trip than I have. Especially if you're driving, it can be very rough. Especially if you're doing overnight or during an entire full day and full night, and then arriving there by the early next morning, and then you're there. I would feel bad for little kids or for babies. They would be so tired. Because I have noticed that anytime that I'm at a Disney park, I have noticed that there are a lot of either crying or screaming kids, mostly because they're like very hungry, or they're thirsty, or it's like, or the park has gotten too loud for them, or they're just very tired because it was a really long day, or they got up so early, or they were up all night, all the way to park closing, or due to their overnight trips going down there, driving, flying, etc. I mean, sometimes these parents are a little bit greedy and selfish. They're only caring about themselves and the amount of money they spend for their trip to have fun all they want and not even bother about their crying kids. I mean, isn't that just terrible? I feel bad for the kids and for the babies, the toddlers. They get tired. I mean, they're so little, their brains are smaller, and they're very energetic because when they're very energetic during the day, they're already pooped around sometime late in the day or the afternoon, and they feel like, well, I'm tired. Or some get cranky and they want to go back to their hotel or probably just go for a swim or just rest in the lounge and have something to eat or drink. But the whole point is that when parents are having a fun time all day and all night, and they were up all night, and probably if their kids were up all night too, and all day when they're down during their trip or just even prepping for the trip, traveling there, they should really think about their kids of how tired they are being and probably just give them a little break. I mean, I get it. You spent a fortune on the trip and you want to make most of your money, but you know, is money and the trip more important than your kid? You got to think how your kid feels because, if the kid is like having a little frustrated or feeling tired and miserable, then your child is not going to have a good time and is not having a good time. And if you feel like you're having a good time, you probably don't care about your kid. So, parents of young children who take their children to Disney parks and for their children who are tired there, I mean, I'm just saying. Of course, that's just my opinion. I don't really know what their entire full story is, but I'm sure for most of the part, there are some logical explanations. Um, of course, it's very common that usually kids in their young age at a park, I've seen a lot of kids at Disney parks all throughout the park. A lot of them are either physically or mentally disabled in any way, and they are just having a wonderful blast. It's also like a bit of therapy for them and a little escape um, to a world or land that only they can understand, like they are there and I know exactly what's happening, that kind of thing. As of like away from the parks out in the real world, they're like in a struggle, like paralyzed, or they feel uh not as comfortable as they feel when they're in the park. It's like the real world is a whole different world that's almost merciless on them than it is compared to the Disney parks. Because a lot of the cast people and of Disney's nature and the nature of Disney, it focuses around kids, growing kids, evolving kids, and they understand what they are going through and what conditions they have. It's a whole happy family because it was based, because remember, the park was created by a man named Walt Disney who loved his family, who loved giving joy to kids and to have them have a good time. Because without him, there would be no Disneyland and there would be no start of the Disney parks all around the world. There wouldn't be Disneyland California, ours, which was the first original. If it wasn't for Walt Disney himself, there would be no Disneyland, no DCA, no Disney World all in Florida, no Disneyland Paris, no Disneyland Hong Kong, no Disneyland Tokyo, no Shanghai Disneyland and Paris. All of that wouldn't exist if it was not for Walt Disney himself. Which I have to conclude for this live, which we will end in about 2 or 3 minutes that, in my opinion, who is my hero? I would have to answer Walt Disney. From a farm boy with his father as a growing little boy to a Hollywood star with his cartoons to his wealth from his career to a park inventor and creator who has accomplished bringing to life dreams, magic, love, and wonder, and paradise. And he brought together fun. He had brought together the possibilities that you can achieve and create anything as long as you work hard for it and still have imagination. Because he said that Disneyland would never be complete as long as there is still magic and belief in the world, along with creativity. Which is why we need a lot of young minds and young kids to think about their futures of what they want to be, going in business, being an inventor of any kind. Because Disney, the entire Disney Corporation has really put a lot of their research and their scouts to look for anything out there that they could probably finalize into their Disney projects and see if it is pretty kid and all family friendly and what kind of Disney touches they can put to it, and if it could be suitable for a park or for even a film, etc. Because remember, they still do films. Disney is still not all about parks. Now they have cruises, and etc. So we'll end this in about probably a minute or so. So this was my part 2 of my discussion of Disneyland and Disney's California Adventure here in California. And of course, I'll be doing some more discussions of Disneyland sometime in the future, and probably on some more topics before, after, or on top of that. So thank you guys for those of you who are watching tonight, and I will see you guys on my next live. Or if I release a new video pretty soon, please check out my channel. Give this a very big thumbs up, and if you cannot comment, then write me a discussion or of a discussion of which topic I should do or talk about next on my next live. So thank you guys who are watching. I'll see you guys next time. Cash Vaz out. Bye-bye.